This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. I think we spend so much time, certainly on YouTube, and also kind of on forums and stuff like that. And when we write reviews, we spend a lot of time focusing on new bits of gear that we might have bought, and maybe even things that have been sent by companies, depending on if it's a YouTube channel that does paid demos and things like that. But what I don't see too much of is kind of stuff around the decision making about when it's time to sell a guitar, if it is time now. I think even folks that are super into kind of vintage gear and super collectible stuff. I was watching Uncle Larry the other day, and he says, you know, that he'd had something like 4 Les Paul Juniors, I think 57 or something like that. And part of the thing that I don't see too many people even in that realm talking about, obviously there is a big part of kind of getting rid of bits of gear and trading and all that stuff. And I thought it would be interesting to kind of think about some of the decision making around that, particularly if you're, you know, someone like me who has bought quite a lot of gear, sold quite a lot of gear, and yeah, my particular kind of Gibson Les Paul journey was one that I documented on the channel. I also was watching Keith from 5 Watt World. He did a live stream the other day about, I can't remember what he called it, 6 ideas on something, but one of the things that really stuck out to me about that was he talked about selling the first ever guitar that he got, that his dad and him bought, and, you know, his dad having passed on, and the guitar kind of had been sat, not being played, and, you know, as much as like a sentimental attachment might be there, you know, his dad is not within that guitar, but the memories that he has with that guitar with his dad are still there, even once he sold the guitar on, if that makes sense. And so I don't have a sentimental attachment to this guitar like that, which is kind of a bit of a profound thing for me. Another thing for me to say is that I have a 1-year-old daughter and a not large house. It's like 3 bedrooms. One of them is quite a small room with 4 puppies in it. But so space is kind of at a premium. As well, it might be handy to have some money every now and then to pay a mortgage type thing. So if I've got guitars that I'm not playing, or guitars that when I pick them up to play them, I'm not inspired by, I feel like it's time to move them on. So that was the feeling I had. I did a video the other day with the Sire L7, and I was kind of thinking, yeah, like I just wanted to play it for a second. I picked up the Gibson during the filming of that, and I was just not inspired by it. My kind of gut feeling, again, this has happened a couple of times, was that I think maybe it's time for me to part ways with this. Why does this matter? I don't know. It's just something to talk about in it. I don't know if you're... The thing I think it's worth doing, especially if it's a guitar which you're not super sure about selling, or you don't super desperately need the money. I think desperation is probably not a good motivator for any of this stuff, or a good reason. But, you know, if you are desperate, then I guess you've got to do what you got to do. I'm not desperate for the money, but it might be handy. However, so what my motivating factor is that I was feeling like when I picked this up, it's sort of like that film, The Prestige, where, I'm not going to spoil it, but essentially, I can't really say it without spoiling it. Anyway, someone asks a character, "Do you love me?" and the answer comes back, "Not today." And so that's been kind of how I felt about this guitar. Like, some days I pick it up and it's like, oh, I really like that. Other days I pick it up, I'm like, why do I have this? And it's been a bit strange because I don't have other guitars that are particularly like that. There's a bit of a love-hate, not hate, but just not really getting on with it sort of thing. Some days the neck feels particularly sticky, other days it doesn't. It's a bit strange. So what I thought was, I don't want to make a rash decision, so I took a cream and applied it liberally. So I thought, right, what I'm going to do is change the strings on it. So I put on some new Dario 10s, and I thought, well, let's try this top wrapping thing. See if that makes a difference. It's, I think, a Nashville bridge, so it's not ideal for this top wrapping, but it seems to have done the trick anyway. And I have to say, actually today, and even before I changed the strings, I did a bit more playing with it. I'm still very much on the fence. I put it on eBay for a price that I think is about fair. I had an offer which was a little bit lowballing, but at the same time, I'm just still not totally sure. So it's a bit of a weird one for me. I think it's a very good looking Les Paul, but the thing is that I honestly felt like the Sire L7 plays better, and is a much cheaper guitar. I did have a Maybach Lester that, for the love of guitar, sold me, which was yeah, that was one that I sold a while ago. That I felt was a better guitar and lighter. I just didn't think it looked as nice as this one, and was probably easier to recoup my money because this has like a little bit of a binding coming away from there. And I was thinking that I might get Maybach from Maybach themselves, which had a finish closer to what I'd like. But the Maybach stuff was really good. And I had an Epiphone Joe Bonamassa, the limited edition one. And that as well, I felt like easily competed with this. The only thing that I think this has an edge on all of them on is that it looks the part and it says Gibson on it. So, I don't know, for that reason, I'm a little bit hesitant to shift it on, knowing that if I do, any other Les Paul is going to be a bit of a toss-up if it says Gibson on the headstock. So it's a quandary that I'm not so sure on. But plugging it in today, playing it today, I actually feel quite differently about it. So, I don't know, I'm feeling like I'm definitely not going to let it go for a super low price. So I think that's what you can do if you've got a guitar that you're thinking about selling. I guess you think about how often are you playing it, and when you play it, are you inspired or not? And 50% of the time I am inspired by this, 50% of the time I think I'm probably not. I don't know why that is, but I need to figure that out maybe. But then you have to kind of think again alongside that, if I did sell it, could I get something similar to it back? I guess a 2002 Les Paul Standard is not going to be super hard to come by, but maybe one that looks super nice, maybe one that feels as good, maybe one that, I don't know, maybe I just wouldn't need something with Gibson on the headstock. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking about it too much. Does it really matter? Probably not. There's very few guitars that I've sold that I've actually regretted once I have sold them, but this one, for some reason, the fact that it has a Gibson on the headstock is making me think I might regret selling it. It's a bit strange. Have you ever had this sort of thing going on, like a sort of semi-love-hate with a guitar? I don't really know what to do about it. Anyway, sorry about that. That's a bit of a rumination on a topic that really doesn't matter to anyone but me, but such is life. Yeah, here's some more playing. I have been really enjoying it today, so it's a bit difficult. And also, this yellow K-line, at one point I wasn't hugely fond of. It's, at the moment, probably my favourite Strat that I've got in the house, even above the blue one, which is kind of something I never thought I'd say, but it got set up by Monty's and had a set of Monty's pickups put in it, and now I really love it, so I don't know, I'm glad I didn't sell that one. So maybe this Gibson deserves another chance. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you've got them. Do I sound like me playing this, or do I sound like someone else? Probably me doing it. Cheers!